All right, back again at the Gioia salon, and I'm sitting here with
Lydia Hollifield.
Lydia Hollifield, one of our installation artists from the other night. Her piece got finished the end of last night. It was around the spiral staircase, very cool. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, they are wire forms that I made by hand. Each one took about 10 to 20 minutes to make, depending on the size. Some of them are about 4 by 4 inches, and some of them are, 16 by 16 inches. They're 3D things, not.
Yeah, no, they're really amazing looking, and I heard that the big ones are like bowling ball weight.
Yeah, they're fucking heavy.
Super heavy. What's the material on the outside of the wire figures?
The wire was dipped in plaster. It's like a special kind of slurry dipping plaster. It's like a chemical slurry, and then you dip it in sand, and then you let it dry. Okay. And I built up, the big ones are like 20 plus layers, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had some broken ones on the opposite wall for people to like go up and look. Although, anyway. Yeah.
So you could see like the rings of a tree.
Yeah, they would see like kind of what's inside of it and be like, oh. But I don't know. There were less successful and more successful aspects of display and show stuff. So.
Ron, where'd you get the idea for this? Where's the inspiration come from? Because it's a really unique space you created. The vertical lines that go with it, it's a really neat piece.
Well, all of the aspects of the piece are based on their sort of responses or further investigations of work that I've already done.
Okay, right on.
The actual plaster objects come from a series of like 12 that I did in Taos, New Mexico, that were clay instead of plaster, and they looked sort of like bones or like skulls, but hanging the same way. And the hanging them in that sort of configuration came from another piece that I did that was also hanging. It was.
So you're primarily a sculpture artist, then, yeah?
Yes, I think of myself as an installation artist. It's really how my mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
My mind approaches work. I am really good at modeling, which is the other stuff that I showed, but it's not. It's a further means to accomplish my bigger installation goals.
Right on. I imagine, well, not that modeling doesn't seem as fun, but bringing something that as grand as this into a space, that's got to be awesome.
And modeling has its own benefits. It's sort of finding the personification in form. Like the little guys that I have over there have very human expressions and gestures and postures.
Yeah, very animated. I did see those too earlier.
Yeah, so it has its own perks, but installation is just what happens naturally and how I think about everything. So.
Well, okay. What's the process in thinking about putting up an installation piece? Do you have to find the space first, or have the idea first and fit it into a space, or?
I mean, there's not a process, but there are parts, and you think about them at some point in the evolution, always.
Where does it start? Can you walk us through, just one example, maybe, or is it different every time?
Well, I can talk about this one.
Yeah,
they started with the actual individual little things. I had been making them before Christmas and hadn't really gone anywhere with them. I'd made, maybe 15, and I didn't really know what to do with them, and so I just kind of stopped working on them. But this opportunity came up, and Brendan, at first when he offered it, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But thinking about my work, and I don't know, I really don't remember, but somehow I convinced myself that it was probably a good idea, and it was a good idea.
Definitely.
So I kept making them, and about a month ago, I guess, I came to the salon to see sort of what I would want to do. And Brendan had said to me, because he'd been here many times before, he said, well, I think the space in the stairwell would be the best place, just because everywhere else is probably going to have something in it. And that space, it's not going to be I don't know.
It needs to be used, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way you do your hanging pieces, like you said, your previous ones, yeah, perfect.
Well, I wasn't, I mean...
And it lets you walk through the different layers of it, because if it were just something that you were standing around in any, regular space, you couldn't actually, I don't know, get that third dimension on it, which is pretty key, because all these things are really intricate and really organic. They go off in a bunch of different directions, and to not be able to like walk around and up and down them, that was a great space for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was kind of the serendipity of, and I guess somewhat planning on my part, because I knew what I wanted the work to feel like to people when they came in and they were among it, and there was some trouble hanging it, like getting a secure enough to the ceiling, or it ended up to the banister and the wall. Right. But originally I wanted to do it from the ceiling, and it wasn't possible.
Bowling balls. I mean, how much do you think the whole thing that's hanging over there right now weighs? That's got to be...
I'm guessing at least 200 pounds, probably around 250, but no more than 300.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a massive undertaking.
It was a massive undertaking, and I'm...
Literally massive.
I'm extremely thankful that I was able to accomplish it with all the help of everybody. Thank you, everybody.
All right on. I mean, that was a big part of what we were doing at this show. It was a community effort. You know, it was about other artists helping each other and artists coming together to make awesome art.
That's why I don't know. Brian came in the day that I was installing it and like talked to me about it and was like, okay, I think you need this and this, and like, even though he had shit to do, he went with me to Lowe's and like made sure I got exactly what I needed, and I really, really appreciate it, because I don't know, I feel like the art community has the potential to be that. It has the potential to be something else awful, but when we work together as a community, I think we can accomplish.
It takes a village to raise a
fucking amazing
piece of artwork, or like more than that, just like a show. It's this whole other being that we collectively created last night. We were doing this post for the installation pieces. But yeah, it's an amazing thing that we're able to do. I hope art can't turn into what is the uglier thing that it can turn into?
I don't know. Maybe it's not as ugly as I think. I think I'm pretty jaded and experienced right now. Those are opposite things.
What are the concerns? Can we talk about that? Because I haven't heard that.
The art world. Well, there's a very kind of corporate sort of selling side to art. Just like everything. And,
right. You got to make sales. You have to make it livable, and that typically is one of my follow-up questions: is how do you turn your art into something that's profitable and livable or sustaining, or is that something that you're not trying to do? Is it,
I mean, it's not an immediate goal. I mean, it is an immediate goal because I do want to do this as my career and like have it as a lifestyle that I live. But I think there's certain ways that you can accomplish it as an artist and as a person. And like, for example, Gorman upstairs, he produces things, and so he had like tons of little small things that would be sellable, that
60 prints that were just easy to move.
And like that's one way to do it, I'm not saying that it's like bad or anything.
Well, it's very accessible.
Yeah, it is, and it's like convenient for the buyer, which is good. And maybe I'll get there someday, in the evolution of my work, but right now,
I mean, it's a little different, I guess, for sculpture, unless you're making casts that produce, like, or something like that. That's production art for what you do.
Yeah,
would that be something that you would do? Or
one of my long-term goals is to get into mold making, but that's whatever.
It's not whatever.
I think these things it would have been very successful if I had sold them individually.
That would have been cool.
Because people came up and asked, like, "Are you selling them? Like, can I buy like 5 of them or 3 of them?"
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
But my goal with this piece is to get it into competitions, and so I can't split them up.
I see.
Yet.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
But you would eventually, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't store them all.
Right, yeah.
So.
That would have been a cool thing to, take down names and say, well, I'm trying to exhibit it a little bit more, but I'll call you when it's off tour or whatever, and you can take a piece home, because that would be a cool thing. You did produce a lot. I mean, 200-plus pounds of art.
Yeah, I think there are 145 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. People were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Well, I've been working on this, and they're like, "Oh, you've been working on this one thing for 2 months?" Like,
Yes.
Yes.
Well, don't fight the corporatism side of it or the production selling side, you know? Like, you can still do that and be fully legitimate.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe. It just depends on how I feel as an artist. Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Yeah, right on.
The future.
I'm trying to sell you on the dark side.
I don't know. Come.
Be successful somehow. However, though, I mean, it's not important. It's just how you're successful, just that you can make what you do into some sort of a success so that more people can get access and, you know, enjoy what you do.
Yeah, and I think people, it's interesting. I was having second thoughts at the beginning, towards probably like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is anybody going to like this? Like, I don't even know if anybody's going to like this. Like, what if it's a total flop? Like, I've never had a total flop, you know, where, like, I made something and nobody's been enthusiastic about it at all. And so, like, I think one day it'll happen, and, like, it won't be a bad thing. It'll be a learning experience, as everything is. But I don't know. I just, I know that I can sell stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. Your stuff is neat, for sure, at least what I've seen of it. I'd love to see some of your older pieces. Are they going to be up? Like, are we going to get pictures for those, too, and put them on the site and
They
stuff?
are online. Okay. I'm very new at being an artist, so I'm not super good at documenting my work yet, which is extremely important for an installation artist because, because, you know, once it's done and I take it down, nobody's ever going to be able to walk into that room again.
Right.
And so I really need to.
It's a one-time space kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess an installation could move, but really, like, the way that this is done, it'd be so hard to move exactly in replica.
Installation is about the experience. The experience of being in the room with whatever is in the room.
Documentation is going to be so key for that, then, because you're going to have to capture it in something less than what it is, and very difficult. You're going to have to have a good team on that.
I'm just going to have to learn how to do it.
I'm
going to have to find people who can teach me.
Yeah.
So, things that I've been thinking about.
Yeah, right on.
Mm-hmm.
Things that, you know, every artist has to think about, especially someone who's in your field, like sculpture, and where you can produce, I don't know, like, was it Ben, the glass guy? Mm-hmm. He does the blown glass, you know, and that's kind of like sculpture in the sense that you're creating a form out of something. I
mean, it is. We are doing some, but I'm an installation artist,
right,
and
right.
Like,
Your pieces
this is the piece.
Much bigger, right?
You know, but like. So he can move his things from one place to another, and, like, you know, someone will have the same effect. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does depend, like, sort of the environment where they see it and the situation, but, like, to a much lesser extent.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So if you were to give someone or sell someone 5 of these, would you not feel comfortable with that? Because
no, I would feel comfortable because.
Well, you can't control how they're displayed, how they're going to look together, or, you know, in that kind of space.
True.
And that seems like it's a big part of it.
But
so wouldn't that be weird just to give someone 5 and be like, yeah, put them wherever?
No, once it's a different feeling because once I would sell them, they become their own unit. You know, they're no longer part of the installation, and so I sell someone 5 of these little things, and I'm like. I would always ask them, so what do you plan on doing that with them? Where do you plan on putting them in your house? And they're like, well, I don't know.
What if you could, like, charge them extra, be like, I'll come over and, like, pick a spot and
actually,
hang them. Would that be preferable? Because that way you get to...
I mean, if they would be down to do that, they don't have to pay me anything, but, like...
Really, that would just be, like, a free thing. Like, if I sell it to you, then I'll totally put it up.
Yeah,
and
I'll come to your house and talk to you about where you want to put it, how you want to put it up.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I mean, it's my work, and I want it to look the best that it can always. So.
Yeah. Right on. I think that'd be a cool thing for you to do.
That's actually one of my best friend's parents. She's kind of an artist. She's a graphic designer, but she really appreciates what I do. And she was like, "Can I buy like 3 of them?" And I was like, "Well, I'll make you 3, and I'll come to your house, and we'll talk about where to put it on." And she was like, "Okay, great."
Yeah, right on. That's right on. Very cool. That's and that's bringing that function to form, which is kind of that third aspect of being an artist, is making it livable, making it sustainable. So you got to find a way somehow. That one seems really cool to me because you don't have to compromise on what really is your art, which is this. I guess it's not really performance because you create a space. It's such a unique thing, installation art. I don't know.
It is. It really is. I'm really pumped. I've never had a teacher professor mentor who is purely an installation artist. They've always been sculptors or ceramicists or drawers. So I'm excited to start networking in the art world in all the different cities, wherever I can.
Who are like some of your favorite artists? And are there primarily got people who are just installation artists?
Yeah,
I don't.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would like I'm looking at the main woman that I'm looking at right now is named Ruth Asawa. Oh, sorry. The main woman that I'm looking at right now is named Ruth Asawa, and she was like a San Francisco hippie 70s artist. Mm-hmm. She's half Japanese like me, or she's Japanese American like me.
Team Asia?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm Filipino. Just gotta throw it up.
And she does sort of typically Japanese art in that it's very intricate, like little tiny Asian hands have made that, So,
well, one thing that's really neat about Japan, I kind of grew up in a Japanese household. My dad works for a company. Because they have such little resources and such little space that everything they do is just so
needs to
intricate.
Be efficient.
Yeah, they put so much into such a little space. It's really amazing. I guess that's a big part of installation art.
Using your space efficiently. I feel like it was interesting when we were having the trouble hanging it. Brendan was like, well, there's this room off to the side of where Ryan is doing his stuff, and you could put it in there. And I was like, okay, I'll go look at it and I'll think about it. And I went and sat in it. And I called Brendan and I was like, I can't do that.
No.
And he was like, well, okay. Then, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, no, I think I don't think there could have been a better spot for it, honestly, definitely not in this space. And like I said earlier, the extra dimension that the staircase adds for the viewer is really key.
And I knew that would happen. That's why it was a big deal. And I'm actually very, very happy with the way that it turned out, as opposed to hanging it from the ceiling, because you can see where it's hung from. You can stand above that and look down at it, which I think people really, really, really responded to. Like 3 or 4 people came up and were like, my favorite thing is looking down on it.
Yeah.
Through the wire mesh.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite views too.
Yeah.
You got anything else? Anybody else you want to throw up in terms of the installation art world? Because I really don't know a whole lot about it.
There's another woman. Her name is Susan Szee, I guess, SZE. And someone said last night that I was like the homeless artist at the show, which I guess every show needs. And she does the same thing as me. She collects stuff. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of I have so much shit in the back of my car right now that I just picked off the road today.
Found art.
Yes. And so she makes very intricate. They look like cityscapes, or they're not cityscapes. They're off the wall. Mm-hmm. They look like. Have you ever seen those I Spy books?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're like that. She's built a scene, and it's the whole wall.
Wow.
And it's all trash.
Yeah.
But very precisely placed. Methodically organized trash.
Wow. What was her name again? Sorry.
Sarah.
I'm gonna look her up.
Sarah Szee.
Szee.
I think SZE. Sarah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is. There's stuff out there. There's one gallery at Rice University that is solely dedicated to installation art, and it's
nice.
It's the only one I've heard of. I'm sure there are other ones out there, but it's in Texas, and I went there once. It was pretty cool.
The only one I know of here in Dallas, and it's because my mom's big into the art scene. That's a big reason that I am, and my sister was as well. But Shane Pennington is a local Dallas artist that does a lot of installation pieces and kind of more along those kind of lines. His last one was called Transcendence, and it was a big Zen garden, but he brought in these big ice blocks with stones in the middle, and he carved the ice blocks to be people, and then over the course of the event, the ice melted, and so the stones sank into place in the sand. It was kind of neat.
That is really cool.
And then before that, he did one that was they went around to a bunch of places in the city in Dallas, and they set up those giant projectors on walls. Mm-hmm. And they had all the artists they showed them their spaces, and they made animated graphics to go on the walls. And some of them weren't just walls, but some were huge sides of buildings, and some were like staircases in parks. So it gave them,
some sort of dimension.
Yeah, like a different thing to work with, and I thought that was really cool. So I wish there were more of that going on in Dallas, and just I would like to see it somehow turn guerrilla. Honestly, every time I hear installation art, I think that's such a waste. That's not just like popping up all over the place, in some sort of graffito style. I wish that would happen more, where I would just walk or be driving somewhere and see, like, holy shit, like, there's just, that's awesome, look at that over there.
I mean, I don't think it's possible to do it. I mean, I personally, maybe it is, but, like, I don't think it's possible to do installation art guerrilla style, because someone somewhere doesn't want that there, and they will remove it.
Yeah.
But if you get permission, like, in some sort of sculpture installation, then, like, you can make it out of material that's weatherproof, that will last, and you can install it there with the permission of whoever, and it'll stay there for forever. And it's my favorite places are Sculpture Gardens, the Nasher, and
place.
And Valley House. Have you been to Valley House?
Where's Valley House?
It's
there's like the Nasher and the Crow and the GMA.
Yeah,
are all
the
like
Valley
right
House
there.
is the it's like the sculptors gallery, like where all of the big not all of them, but like big sculptors that I know who are from Dallas who work here are signed with Valley House, and they show their work there. It's on Spring Valley and like close to 75. And it's got like a big sculpture garden in the back, and there are like a bunch of bronze things there.
Wow.
And you like walk around, and there's like a person lying there. And it looks like a person, but it's bronze. And it's been there for like years.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, I went for the first time. I mean, I'd known about it for a long time, but I went for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is one of the most amazing places in Dallas, and I have to come back here always.
Wow. Yeah, very cool, very cool. I'm definitely going to go check that out now. I had no idea. And the Nasher is probably one of my favorite art exhibits. I remember going there. It's, for school and then not for school eventually.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Yeah, it kind of grows on you.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing I saw the early Picasso stuff when they had it down in the basement, like his first sculpture. That was weird. I never really thought of him as a sculptor before, but I guess that was a good part. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yep, it's a wonderful world, sculpture, and people think of art as painting, and which is is fine, but the relationship of an object or a space to your own body, to you as a person individually, and when you walk around it and it's this big and you can hold it in your arms, or it's the size of you and you can it's a different feeling than a painting.
Oh no, right on. I think we as an art community here at Gioia last night, and everybody involved, definitely sees that. I mean, we had so many different mediums present. It was awesome to see so many different artists turn out to help each other and raise each other up. And it really was a beautiful thing to see. You are a resident sculpture installation guru. Thanks so much. I thought it was great.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.